Hey, what's going on guys? It's me Aiden, welcome back to another video. Now, some of you may remember this, but last year I held an art contest. The theme was Kwamis, and we had 242 submissions from viewers all across the world. The goal was to design a Kwami, come up with some powers and weapons, and then make them fight to the death. Well, not really, but there were some fights in there. Since we had so many submissions, I had to break them into brackets. There were 16 brackets each with 15 to 16 Kwamis. After we had our 16 winners, there was one final bracket to determine the very best Kwami. Now you may be wondering, how did you determine which Kwami would win? Well, for each match there were 3 categories that the judges were giving points to. There were a total of 10 points that could be awarded for each category, so the Kwamis were fighting for some of those 10 points. The first category was creativity. This was how creative each judge thought the Kwamis were. The second category was a situational category. We had a list of situations that were randomly picked for each round. The judge would determine which Kwami would do better in the situation picked. This category is meant to stimulate things that might happen as a superhero. The final category is the judge's personal ranking. This was the judge giving points based on which Kwami they liked better. Now in the final bracket there was an extra category. The final bracket was live streamed, and for each match there was a poll where the viewers could vote for a Kwami. This was divided up into 10 points, whereas the other 3 categories were moved down to only 5. This meant that the viewers had a pretty large impact on which Kwami would come out on top. Now, judging 17 brackets by myself would have taken a really long time, so I asked for some help from some other YouTubers in the Miraculous community. So I want to give a big thanks to Miraculous Animations, MiraculouslyLazy, Smarty Pants, The Virtual Celebrity, and Toon Ruins for being judges with me. They each have a small segment where they talk about their favorite Kwamis from the 2 brackets that they judged. Their YouTube channels are down in the description below, so definitely go check them out. They all make great content. Now without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at each of the brackets, shall we? Bracket number 1 was judged by me. In fact, brackets 1 through 6 were all judged by me. Anyway, this bracket was one of the ones that had 16 Kwamis in it. Most of them only had 15. In the end, Partinez, the Kwami of companionship, came out on top. Partinez's power is friendship, and they can call a spirit animal to help guide your actions. In bracket number 2, things got heated as 2 of my favorite Kwamis from this round made it to the finals. In the end, Fury, the Kwami of rebirth, came out on top. Their power is reincarnation. The hero can essentially create a save point, and if they are trapped or are in a bad situation, they can dissolve into a cloud of ash and go back to the place where they created that save point. This, in my opinion, is a way better way to do Viperion's power. In bracket number 3, Inky, the Kwami of deceit, was the winner. With their power Deception, they can summon a black orb that, when thrown, emits a purple smoke. Any object within this smoke will be duplicated and randomly thrown around the room, causing confusion to anybody who sees. In bracket number 4, Dracu climbed to the top, almost maintaining 16 points with each match. Dracu is the Kwami of fear with the power of nightmare. This power allows the hero, or maybe more fittingly the villain, to show someone their greatest fear. This effect depends on the victim's imagination. Using the scythe weapon, they can even see what the victim is imagining. In bracket number 5, Charon, the Kwami of Mourning, won with an overwhelming 10-point lead against their opponent. Their power is to create a cloud of nightmare smog. This smog, if inhaled, causes exhaustion, ultimately making anyone in the smog fall asleep. This even works on the Miraculous holder, so they have to wear a mask to avoid being affected. Using the paddle weapon, the smog can be controlled and directed to a certain area or become a certain shape. And for the last of my brackets, bracket number 6, Mika, the Kwami of Morality, came out as the winner. Their power is called Rummage, and with it, the user can unlock or open anything. You could even open a pathway through a wall if you wanted to. Whoever has this Kwami has to have super strong morals, hence the Kwami of Morality. Moving on from me as a judge, brackets number 7 and 8 were both judged by MiraculouslyLazy. In bracket number 7, we had Wufu, the Kwami of Luck, on top. Wufu's power is Lucky Shot. When activated, the Miraculous holder can fire a magical arrow that will always hit its target, no matter how small or far away the object is. This power can also be fired in smaller rounds. With this, they have 5 shots, with the initial shot not being as accurate as normal, and with each shot after that getting less accurate than the previous. In bracket number 8, Melody was the winner. Melody is the Kwami of Harmony, and with her power called Protectoon, the user can play their guitar weapon to create force field sound waves, pushing back anything in range. The power of the force fields depends on how hard they strum. Next, we have brackets 9 and 10, both of which were done by Miraculous Animations. In bracket number 9, Remy, the Kwami of Gravity 1. With their power, they can lower gravity in a certain area for up to 5 minutes. Not to mention, when you transform with this Kwami, you get to float. In bracket number 10, Quill blew their opponent out of the water with a 13-point lead. Quill is the Kwami of Peace, and with their power of peaceful sleep, they can put people to sleep for up to a minute, depending on the person, by hitting them with their boomerang. The next bracket, bracket 11, was done by the virtual celebrity. In this one, Blazy came out on top. They are the Kwami of Regeneration. Their power Sunrise allows the user to revive immediately after being hit. Blazy is the second Phoenix Kwami to make it to the final bracket. Phoenixes were a very popular animal of choice for this contest. Bracket 12 was done by Toon Ruins, and Frika was the Kwami that won that bracket. Frika is the Kwami of Fear. With their power Panic, they can inflict any fear upon an opponent. Frika is not to be confused with Draku. They are both Kwamis and both involve casting fear, but they are in fact different. In total, there are 3 Bat Kwamis in the final bracket. Bats, as you can tell, were also a very popular animal of choice for this contest. Bracket number 13 was done by Smarty Pants. In this bracket, Howl, the Kwami of Reinforcement, came out as the winner. With the power of Pack Attack, the user can make up to 2 clones of themselves, with the original being the pack leader. The clones are not as powerful as the pack leader, but they can definitely still pack a punch. Bracket 14 jumps back to Toon Ruins, with the winner being Agi, as in Imagination. And yes, you guessed it, Agi is the Kwami of Imagination. Their power is Delusion. This power will create an object that only exists in the user's mind. It's very similar to a Lucky Charm, except you have no idea what the object is when you get it. Bracket 15 was done by the virtual celebrity, and funnily enough, another Phoenix won her bracket. Does TVC have a secret soft spot for Phoenixes? Anyway, the Kwami's name is Phoebe, and they are the Kwami of Power. Their power, Phoenix Fury, gives a power boost to any Miraculous holder. This gives them extra strength, endurance, and even a special power related to the Miraculous holder. And now it's time for the final preliminary bracket, bracket 16. This was judged by Smarty Pants, and in this bracket, Chemo came out on top. Chemo is the Kwami of Positivity, and their power is Multi-Stick. With this power, the user creates small invisible traps on the ground. If someone steps in them, they will become stuck, as if they have stepped in super gum. These invisible traps are visible to the holder as well as any positive people, making this the ultimate trap against people with negative emotions, such as akumatized victims. So those were the 16 brackets and their winners. Those 16 Kwamis were put up against each other in the ultimate showdown. If you are interested in watching the live stream, I will have a link down in the description below where you can find it. But without any further ado, let's introduce the top 4 Kwamis. Tied for 3rd place, we have Inky and Chemo. And then in 2nd place, we have Wufu. And finally, the winner of the Kwami Art Contest is Remy, the Kwami of Gravity. Congratulations to Sonia for winning the Kwami Art Contest. Here is the final bracket for anybody interested in seeing the matchups. But that's not all. Next, we have a small clip from each of the judges where they explain who they are and some of their favorite Kwamis. These may include Kwamis that did not win, so it will be interesting to watch. We will be starting with Miraculous Animations, going in alphabetical order.
Hello guys, I'm Rafat, and I have a channel named Miraculous Animations over YouTube where I like to work on theories, news, and edits about Miraculous Ladybug. So if you like Miraculous Ladybug, consider checking it out. Coming back to the art contest, every single Kwami submission that I've seen till now is pure talent, and it's been pretty difficult to choose between my personal favorite because almost all of them are stunningly designed and I absolutely love every single one of them. But if I had to pick my personal favorite among all of the ones that I've seen, it would be Remy and Quill. Now the artwork between both of these Kwamis have been also pretty nice to design, and I also like the animal choices of a koala and a raccoon are pretty unique, and I haven't seen any ideas like that before this, so I think the choices were also pretty unique. Also the power choices are also pretty unique. For example, Remy's gravity power is also pretty unique as I haven't seen on the other Kwamis yet, and Quill's power over to make anyone sleep is also a very nice little power that I think will be coming handy now and then over time when fighting any akumatized villains. And Quill's description over time is also a pretty nice solid piece of touch to it, as it never eats and just wants to sleep as a power-up upgrade. So I think that's also a pretty clever way to recharge your Kwami. But anyway, that's just me, and thank you, Aiden, for having me in this art contest, and I really enjoyed doing this with you, so maybe hopefully we'll do it some other time once again.
Hi, I'm from the channel Miraculously Lazy, and this is the Kwami that stuck out the most to me. Its name is Wufu, and it is a bat related to luck. So its power is called Lucky Shot, and when it's activated, basically it's a magic bow and arrow, and the wielder can make any impossible shot that it needs. So no matter how hidden or small away a target is, this power will allow them to hit anything. The cool thing about this power is that it is not overbearing because they only have 5 chances to make the shot, and with each shot, the accuracy decreases. So I felt like this power was not super overbearing, but still super creative. And the thing that made me really fall in love with this Kwami was actually its weapon, because it's multifunctional, and I thought that was just super cool to not just limit it to one use. So basically it's a bow and arrow, but it also, they're shaped like bat wings, but they can be separated into tonfas for melee fighting. And also when the bow is attached to the wielder's back, the hero can use it for gliding, which I thought was super cool. Not too much to where it's just like crazy and overloaded with like powers and functions, because I feel like there's a limit to where there's too much, but it's just, I feel like it's just like the perfect amount. And plus, if you look here, the weapon is really just so thought out, and it just shows like the accuracy, how the accuracy begins to go away with each shot, and I just love the detail that was put into this. So thank you for submitting. And again, I'm Miraculously Lazy on YouTube. Make sure to go subscribe to me if you want. I analyze signs of Adrian's crush on Marinette. That's mainly what I do. Anyway, bye.
Hey guys, my name's also Aiden, and I have a YouTube channel called Smarty Pants. Basically, I talk about a range of different TV and movie franchises, discussing them and making predictions and theories. Miraculous, My Hero Academia, Troll Hunters, Marvel, Harry Potter, they're just a few of the fandoms I talk about, so if that sounds like your thing, consider checking it out. Anyway, onto the contest. I was really impressed by all the Kwami submissions I saw. There were a lot of rounds where it was practically next to impossible to choose between them. I had a pretty long list of favourites, so it was really hard for me to pick just one that was the best, so I thought I'd quickly touch on 2 of the ones I found to be the most original and unique. We'll start with Apatha, which is a sloth Kwami that embodies laziness. When I first heard that, I was a little bit shocked, I think. Normally Kwamis embody something we'd consider a positive trait. But what I liked here was that it uses a more negative trait to its advantage to make a hero that's super unique and unlike any others I saw. Its power gives you extender arms, and its weapon is an extendable toy grabber, so you can essentially just stay in place while saving the day. It's finally here, a hero for all of us couch potatoes. And on top of that, visually, I found it to be pretty unique, and I liked that it thought outside the box with gloves for the Miraculous instead of jewellery or a trinket. Next up, we have Ash, the Phoenix Kwami, and this one was probably the most unique concept that I saw. It's a little morbid, but Ash is the Kwami of sacrifice, and its special power involves sacrificing its own life and the life of its user in order to save people or contribute to some greater goal. Now that's pretty gnarly. I mean, yes, the user then comes back to life, but they were dead. That's hardcore. But on top of that, it was one of the more visually striking designs for both the Kwami and the hero. It just felt like there was so much time and effort poured into designing it and thinking out the powers and abilities. Whilst maybe it doesn't gel all too well with the kid-friendly vibe, if the age bracket jumped up, this is what I want to see. Anyway, that being said, that's it from me. I had a lot of fun reading through the submissions, and thanks to Aiden for inviting me on. Hopefully we can do this again.
Hi, I'm TVC. I loved being a judge in this contest. There were so many Kwamis, and I wish I could just give all of them a big hug. They were so creative. You guys are so creative. But one of my favorite Kwamis, and I didn't even start writing this down till bracket 15, but I really liked Bruix, Eterna, Phoebe. Oh, I loved Phoebe. Irish, Shade, and Claw. If I was to try and pick or remember off the top of my head the Kwamis I liked from bracket 11, I think Arzo was one. Arrow, Daphne, Misty, Libby, I think. I love all of them, to be honest with you.
Hey everyone, my name is Leah, otherwise known as Toon Ruins. On my channel, I talk about cartoons and the impact that they have as a medium, discussing the themes, the meaning, and the history behind them. This includes talking about important social issues that the shows I cover often talk about or have messages on. I like to talk about Steven Universe, Infinity Train, The Owl House, and of course, Miraculous Ladybug, which is the reason I'm one of the judges for the Kwami contest. And while I'm only judging your Kwami submissions today and giving my brief thoughts on them and why I chose them, I certainly have opinions and analysis on the show itself if you'd like to give my videos a watch. And just like with the concepts of the show, I was in love with the Kwami designs and concepts that you guys came up with. There were actually quite a few rounds where the winner only won by 1 point, or where the determining factor was only situational and not based on the general creativity of the Kwami itself. But out of all the Kwami that I judged, the two that stuck out to me the most would have to be Fricka and Agi. To make things less confusing, I'll talk about Fricka first. Fricka is a Kwami that resembles a bat and embodies the power of fear. Similar to Ladybug's two-piece earring Miraculous, Fricka's Miraculous is a set of cufflinks that go on either side of your sleeves. The power that this Kwami grants is called Panic, which allows the user to inflict any fear of their choosing onto their target. The weapon is a slingshot, so the special ability is activated by flinging a bomb at the target. There were a few things that I really loved about this Kwami, but the detail that I liked the most comes from the transformation itself. Real-life bats don't have the best eyesight since most are nocturnal and live in areas with little to no light like caves, so sight isn't really something that they need. They mostly rely on sound, which goes hand in hand with echolocation. To play off the bat theme, when transformed, the user can no longer physically see with their eyes. Instead, they gain the ability to sense their surroundings, mimicking a bat's echolocation. One of my favorite things about Kwami transformation designs and quirks is when an animal trait transfers over to their user. For example, Cat Noir being able to purr like a cat. Next up is Agi, the Kwami of imagination. And unlike Fricka, I can't tell you what animal they're based off of. This is because they change form depending on the holder, so how they look in the submission isn't how they always will look. I thought that this concept was incredibly unique and unlike any of the other submissions that I saw. This Miraculous seems to be heavily customizable, and I think that could lead to some great interactions and bonding between the Kwami and their chosen. The Miraculous for Agi is a cloud pin, and it changes to the user's favorite color upon transformation. To further the idea of imagination and unique customization, the ability that the Miraculous grants is called Delusion. Delusion allows the user to call upon an item that doesn't exist and was created by their imagination. Similar to Ladybug's Lucky Charm ability, but different in that the item isn't pre-existing or recognizable. So on top of having to figure out what to use the item on, they also need to use their imagination to figure out how it works and what it does. This was a very creative twist on, well, the power of creation that we already see being used in canon. I adore Agi, and I especially love the personalization that their ability enables. And while these two just happen to be my favorites, that's not to discredit the other amazing designs and concepts that a lot of the other contestants submitted. I really enjoyed looking through each and every one, and I'm very thankful that Aiden invited me to be a judge.
And with that, the only judge left is me. A few of my favorite Kwamis were Shromp, the Kwami of sympathy, Mingxi, the Kwami of calmness, Charon, the Kwami of mourning, Fury, the Kwami of rebirth, and finally Wufu, the Kwami of luck. There were so many to choose from, so it was very hard to narrow down the list. But overall, I think everybody did a fantastic job, and I want to say thank you to everybody who participated. I may decide to do another art contest in the future, so I would love suggestions for what the next one should be. If you enjoyed, you can leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.